Welcome to Essential Think. In this video you will find out what exactly is ghosting, why does someone ghost, how to really know if you're being ghosted, and what is the best way for you to deal with this behavior. Let's dive right in, so keep watching. Imagine this scenario. You've met someone and you like this person a lot. You might even imagine yourself in a long-term relationship. You have a great time together, your personalities are compatible, and it seems everything is going really smooth. Suddenly, out of the blue, they disappear. You go from talking every day and texting all the time to complete silence. Wait a minute, how is this even possible? What happened? Well, you've been ghosted. Ghosting is one of very common, annoying dating strategies, which occurs often in our modern world of dating apps and social media. It is a situation where someone that you believe cares about you, whether it's a friend or someone you're dating, disappears from your life without any explanation at all. No phone call, no email, not even a text message. Cutting off all communication with someone has never been easier, and it doesn't require almost any effort or explanation. Modern communication and popular dating apps like Tinder or Grindr have made it easier for anyone to make and break relationships with just a swipe. Suddenly disappearing from someone's life without calling, without emailing or texting has become such a common phenomenon that some surveys show that up to 50% of men and women have been ghosted at some point. However, no matter how common ghosting is, it can still be very emotionally draining and damaging, especially for people with delicate emotional stability or frail self-esteem. So why does someone ghost? And what exactly does it mean? People ghost for all sorts of reasons, but usually if someone ghosts you, it means they're not interested in any relationship or contact anymore. They simply don't want to go through the process of talking to you or explaining their decision. Now let's get one thing straight. When it comes to romantic relationships, this is a very selfish and cowardly move. Removing yourself from a relationship without putting any effort in your decision means that you're only thinking about yourself and completely disregarding the other person. This means that people who ghost are mainly trying to avoid their own emotional discomfort, looking for an easy way out. Whatever your case might be, a direct conversation should always be a better option. On the other hand, sometimes ghosting isn't that simple and there is more to it. People sometimes disappear to avoid conflict or difficult consequences, or are simply afraid of what might happen when they break the news to the other person. If a relationship, whether a friendly, business or a romantic one, has a negative effect on your quality of life and removing yourself from it might cause a fallout with serious consequences, then cutting off all contact might be the only way to move forward. However, these cases do not really fall into the category of ghosting we're dealing with in this video. Usually people like to choose the easy road out of a relationship, which means that ghosting someone is much easier than having an awkward, uncomfortable conversation about why you're not interested in having a relationship anymore. The person who is ghosting wants to avoid conflict or dealing with someone else's feelings, so they just cut off all communication and hope the other person simply gets it. One other reason for ghosting might be that someone has too many options to choose from. Online dating allows us to have infinite choices when it comes to picking out a partner, which is hardly the case in real life. But sometimes this online mindset translates to real life, where people dating simply move from one person to the next. Sometimes a person might be interesting and nice enough for a relationship, but just doesn't get chosen from the pool of potential candidates. I know this sounds really insensitive, but the lack of mutual friends or social connections, for example for people who have met online, means there are less consequences when they simply drop out of someone's life. So how do you really know if you're being ghosted, or if the person on the other side is just too busy at the moment? Some real-life situations might cause people to go off the grid for some time before getting back to you. If you know for a fact that someone is dealing with something serious in their life, or that someone is not used to responding very quickly, you may disregard the idea of ghosting. However, if someone is usually responsive and suddenly stops returning your messages and calls, you just might be a victim of ghosting. You also need to analyze if something has changed between you and your date lately. Has your relationship experienced any trouble? Did you say something or act in a way that might have hurt the other person and caused them to back off? If there are no major life events happening at the moment and your relationship seemed to be just fine before, meaning there is no real reason why someone should stop all contact with you, you really should consider the possibility of ghosting taking place. I know, it sucks. Ghosting hurts. Bad. Sometimes rejection and emotional pain can cause a feeling of real physical pain. Still, ghosting includes some special elements that contribute to the psychological distress. Ghosting doesn't give you an opportunity to prepare or to react to it. It is ambiguous, leaving you with an open ending, a situation where you're not sure whether you should be worried if something happened to the other person. Maybe they are stranded somewhere, maybe their phone battery died and they need help, or maybe someone just stole their phone and they can't get back to you. You're left with all these questions and absolutely no knowledge of what might have happened. Ghosting deprives you of any control of the situation you might have had before and makes you question yourself. How is it possible that such a thing has happened? How come I didn't see this coming? Am I responsible for this? All of these questions keep piling up and keep affecting your feelings and self-esteem. Rejection is painful, and if you've been a subject of ghosting more than once, then you're probably going to feel rejection as even more painful, and it will take you much longer to heal. Ghosting can be seen as emotional abuse, and that's why it hurts so bad. You're basically left with no possibility to ask questions or get answers, which could help you to emotionally overcome the situation. Regardless of what the actual intention or circumstances behind the ghosting might be, the fact remains that it can be truly psychologically damaging to the person being ghosted. Which leads to the question, what should you do if you've been ghosted? How do you move on? The first thing you need to keep in mind is that the problem is not you or the idea that you have done something wrong. Keep reminding yourself that this says nothing about you or your worth, and at the same time it says a lot about the other person. Someone who has ghosted you has already shown an inability to communicate in a mature way. Ask yourself if you actually want to get back in a relationship with such a person. Remember that this is a problem of the person ghosting you, and you should not waste your time on trying to find out the reason. So do your best to move on as quickly as possible. Maintain your dignity, eat healthy, and focus on yourself. You should not waste your time or energy on people who are not mature or brave enough to talk to you. Don't dwell on what went wrong, but simply realize that you were not compatible anyways, and that there are much better options for you out there. Don't allow someone else's lousy behavior to take away your future and prevent you from enjoying your life. You can spend some time with your friends or family and seek comfort in the people you know and trust. These people love you, respect you, and know your worth. Being with them will put the ghosting experience into perspective and remind you that there still are positive people in your life. Of course, if you feel that your emotions are too overwhelming or complex, don't be afraid to reach out to someone who can provide you professional assistance in dealing with these issues. Ghosting has become a common thing in our digital age, but this does not mean that it's the best way to deal with things. If you're being tempted to ghost someone yourself, consider how such behavior might impact the other person. And unless safety is truly at risk, try to stay honest and kind, and offer some closure and respect to the other person. We have come to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it and found it useful, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell for new videos that come out. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and see you next time.